Good morning, everyone. If I could ask everyone to grab a seat, please, we would appreciate it. So welcome to the launch of the Base 11 Space Challenge. I think you'll all agree with me that this is a very, very exciting day. My name is Al Bunshaft. I'm a Senior Vice President with Dassault Systems, and I've been given the honor to open the event and introduce the first speaker. I'm convinced, and I hope you are, that we're all going to look back on this day as a very, very significant event. I believe that we are at the edge of launching the next generation of innovators for the 21st century, and I think this event will be a key part of that. So with that as a very brief introduction, I'd like to introduce a colleague of mine that I've been working with now for a few years. Landon Taylor is the CEO of Base 11. He has been one of the brains behind launching this activity. Incredible inspiration to me, and I know many others of you. It's an honor for Dassault Systems to be partnering with Base 11 on a number of activities now, and to be part of this Base 11 Space Challenge. So with no further delay, I would like to welcome Landon Taylor to the podium. Landon?
All right, thank you, Al. Are you guys fired up? I know I am fired up. This day has been coming. We've been excited. We've been working on it since September of last year. I got inspired by reading the book Bold that gave the history of the Ansari XPrize, which of course created Virgin Galactic. And when I heard that story, I said, wait a minute, that's it. Let's build and create the Base 11 Space Challenge. And so listen, before we get started, let me tell you who's in the room. Because at Base 11, one of our core strategies is to break down the silos that exist between academia, industry, philanthropy, and government. We want to break those silos down so that we can work together towards this common goal of accelerating high potential, low resource students into the victory circle so that they can achieve this goal of one, getting admitted to four-year university studying a STEM major, two, getting hired in a well-paid STEM job. I'm looking at my buddy from SpaceX. Number three is for them to get trained as STEM entrepreneurs. And so we create the opportunity to break those silos down, and today's event is another example of doing that. Because let me tell you who's in the room. We have students from all over the United States and some students from Canada. We have industry leaders in our audience here with us, representing great companies like SpaceX, Boeing, Dassault Systems, Firefly Aerospace, Sage Cheshire, Spin Launch. And then we have representatives from our government collaborators, including the FAA. Michelle Murray is here. You're going to hear from her, including the CEO of Spaceport America. That's a part of New Mexico State, the state of New Mexico. Locally, we have Councilwoman Zarita from District 1, right here in Compton, who's here with us. And then from our nonprofit partners, major leaders from across the country, the XPrize Foundation is here. Sigma Pi Phi, the fraternity, is represented here. You'll hear from them in a moment. Teresa Price with National College Resources Foundation, Base 11, of course, and then a very special individual I want to recognize. And that's tomorrow's Aeronautical Museum, the founder, who is Robin Petgrave. See, you're in tomorrow's Aeronautical Museum. Many people ask me the question, why Compton? Why would you launch in Compton? I mean, I see some people laughing like, yeah, I asked him that. Why Compton? You could have done it at one of your aerospace companies. You could have done it at one of the elite universities that you partner with. But we said we want to walk the talk. We want to demonstrate an example of our commitment to bring access, awareness, and belief to students from all backgrounds, especially students from underrepresented communities. That's right. That's right. And we're doing it by bringing opportunities like this. Because our mission is to solve two of this country's most significant problems. One is this STEM talent pipeline crisis that's only getting worse because of the underrepresentation of women and students from underrepresented communities. And number two is a lack of a sustainable middle class in America made up of all Americans. And so therefore, we think space can be a great example to achieve those goals. Number one, there was a recent economic forecast done by Bank of America Merrill Lynch that forecast the space industry to become worth over $2.7 trillion within the next 30 years. We believe that all communities deserve access to that opportunity, not just big business, government, and the ultra-rich. That's why we're gonna level the playing field and create an opportunity for them all. Number two, maybe even bigger than the economic opportunity, is the ability to increase the opportunity for society overall. One of my good advisors, Greg Marinac, the co-founder of XPrize, shared with me, land in space will give our species access to material and energy abundance while protecting and repairing the Earth's biosphere. Space gives us a chance to overcome the zero-sum scarcity game that pervades the present economic mindset in the world. And see, I'm convinced that it's going to be innovators, student innovators, that are in this room with us and listening in on the live cast who are going to give us the answer to capture and move into abundance. And that's why today we're launching the Base 11 $1 million Space Challenge. Welcome to Base 11's $1 million Space Challenge. We're looking for the first university rocketry team who can build and launch a liquid fuel rocket that can reach an altitude of 100 kilometers, the edge of space. Space launches like SpaceX's Falcon Heavy have captivated our imaginations to dream of a new age in space travel. The opportunities are endless, but there's a huge problem. Several aerospace companies have told us that as much as 50% of their engineers will be eligible for retirement in the next 10 years. But graduates often have to spend their first 5 to 7 years getting their real-world training on the job before they can start adding value. The current model is just not working. That's why we've launched the Base 11 Space Challenge, to empower hundreds of participating students nationally with the mindset and skills that are most in demand by employers of the 21st century, and to establish a strategic talent pipeline model, enabling industry, academia, philanthropy, and government to break down the silos and start working together to develop the talent we all need to succeed. What can you do to help open up space as a new frontier for mankind? Are you a university faculty, administrator, or student, or leader in aerospace, tech, or philanthropy? Join us as a member of the Space Challenge. And so, to help us launch today, we've got a very special guest who's joining us. NASA astronaut Leland Melvin. Let me tell you a little bit about him before you clap. Hold on. Leland is the only person drafted into the National Football League who's also flown in space. Leland has a bachelor's of science degree in chemistry and a master's degree in materials and science engineering. He has flown several missions for NASA. And then after serving his country in that fashion, after hanging up his space boots, he was appointed head of NASA education and served as the co-chair on the White House's federal coordination on the STEM Education Task Force and developed the strategy for STEM education for the overall country. He's got this awesome book that I'm gonna share with you after his remarks. He's got a National Geographic show that's about to come on. And let me tell you, today, he's here to inspire all of you to join the Base 11 Space Challenge. Now get fired up for Leland Melvin.
Thank you, Landon. Thank you, everyone. I am so inspired to be here because this is what it means, grassroots, community-driven efforts to give experiential learning to our next generation of explorers. When I look at the pictures in this museum, I think about my hometown, Lynchburg, Virginia, where I grew up on Pierce Street. And 5 blocks down the street on Pierce Street was Chauncey Spencer. Stand up, Chauncey. Chauncey Spencer's father was an aviator who could not fly in the Lynchburg. He couldn't take lessons in the Lynchburg airport because the skin color wasn't the right color. So he went to Chicago, learned how to fly, and then went to Washington, D.C. to petition Congress with Harry S. Truman, Senator Harry S. Truman at the time, to get money for African Americans to fly in the military. And so he was setting the groundwork for me to get to space. And when Neil and Buzz walked on the moon in 1969, I was 5 years old. And everyone watching that television set, rabbit ears, grainy black and white set, all those kids at that time wanted to be astronauts. And they said, Leland, do you want to be an astronaut? No. I didn't see someone who looked like me. And the person I wanted to be was training 5 blocks down the street from me was Arthur Ashe. I wanted to be a tennis player because he had great character, discipline, he was an excellent student, and he was winning every tournament known to humankind. So I was going to be Arthur Ashe. But because my mother gave me an age-inappropriate, non-OSHA certified chemistry set, I created the most incredible explosion in her living room, burned a hole in her carpet, and that fueled my curiosity to become a scientist, and then an engineer, and then eventually an astronaut to fly in space. So when I think about what Landon and this group at Base 11 is doing to inspire the next generation of explorers by giving these resources for the future of our civilization and to have that next step, that next rocket launch, that next moon landing, that next person maybe living on Mars. But it starts right here. And there's a scientific American article that came out, I think, in 2013 or 14 that said the best solutions come from the most diverse teams. And I think in that research it showed that if a person in a VP position that happened to be a female on a Wall Street company was on that team, that company would make $40 million on average more. So it's so important that we ensure that everyone on the team has an opportunity and that all people, all genders, all diversities come to the table to create the best solutions. And so I want to thank Landon, I want to thank all the partners here for creating this challenge because $1 million makes people's eyes get big, right? And how many students do we have in here? Stand up, stand up. The most important thing that you can do with your time right now is to ask yourself this question. Mark Twain said the 2 most important days of your life are the day you were born and the day you figure out why. Why were you born? What is your purpose? And so as you go through school, as you work on this challenge, think about your purpose and your why. And as you do that, pull people along with you, middle school kids, high school kids, your friends, your family, and let them know why you exist and why you're building and creating to help advance our civilization. Godspeed in your journey. Thank you so much for letting me be part of this incredible announcement. Thank you, Landon.
We got it. Hold on right here. Hold on. Come on over here. We want to give you, come on over here.
I got some swag?
Yeah, man, with some swag. Man, we'll give you the official Space Challenge t-shirt. And then there you go. And then the special, there you go. Boom on it. There you go. And listen, as you can see, Leland has this awesome book, Chasing Space. And we want to make sure that everybody, go get this for yourselves, students, adults. Go ahead and make sure that everyone gets this and supports it. We're going to be tweeting it out everywhere to support Leland. There's a new show that's coming out on National Geographic that's featuring Leland. And so this is what it's about. This is the image. This is that we want to be able to really show about what's possible. So we were so honored. The last thing I'm going to say, this was not my prepared remarks. This Space Challenge has helped us find out who's real, who's authentic, who's about this work. And when Leland heard about what we were doing, Leland's a professional speaker. He gets paid $25,000 minimum on up for his talks. He heard about this. He says, I'm there. I'm there to support this. I'm in. Give him another round of applause. And let me clarify. We're a nonprofit, so we didn't have 25 G's. So he came and did it for us as a part of the cause. So we're fired up about that. Now, I'm excited to introduce our next partner, who really is the inspiration of when all the teams get through the gates and they're ready to go launch. The CEO of Spaceport America is here to give his remarks about the impact of this challenge. Please welcome up Dan Hicks, the CEO of Spaceport America, where the rocket is going to go to space. Dan.
So what an honor for me to be here today, just following not only these two great gentlemen, but to talk to you just for a couple seconds about the exciting time that we live in and a historic time that we live in. Let me share a couple thoughts of why I think it's historic times in the space industry and for our country. So the first is, we just started the National Space Council. Our leaders in our government, Vice President Pence and all the department secretaries, Commerce, Department of Defense, Transportation, you name it, they started the National Space Council. We haven't had that in 25 years. And they started that for a reason, because what they did is they got input from the industry, from academia, from the civil space and security space and commercial space industry, and they realized that as a nation, to be world leaders again in space exploration, they had to do something. So that's the first thing that's historic, because they came out with a policy that says very quickly we're going to go to the moon with a permanent presence in a few years, and then we're going to go on to Mars and other deep space exploration, while we still continue as a nation to lead the world in so many other venues of space exploration. But it's a clear policy, and it excites us to think about that. Just think about being an interplanetary species in a few years from now. That's exciting, and to be able to be in the presence of great astronauts like Leland. And then the second perspective that I think is historic is the timing of funding. So you think back in the Apollo days, right? And Gemini and Mercury, all that was a big space race between a couple big nations, and it was all government-funded activity. Today, that's different. Today, we have, Landon talked about the $2.7 trillion that's going to be spent in a few years. 75% of that is by these visionaries, these entrepreneurial spirits around the world that are doing really cool things, whether it's Richard Branson with Virgin Galactic and Virgin Orbit and the SpaceX company, which is our foundational partner out at the Spaceport America, or whether it's Blue Origin and SpaceX and the cool things they're doing with returnable boosters and reusable technologies, how exciting that is. Or whether it's Boeing, you know, a space giant like Boeing that does incredible things for security and commercial and wonderful things of, they're developing a space plane today. They're doing things like the CST Starliner, which actually lifts off from Spaceport, and they're testing a drogue chute out there with our partnership at White Sands. There's so many exciting activities going on around the world, but I think it's historic because it's not just taxpayer dollars that's doing all this right now. And that's, anytime you have a sector that's going like that, then it's going to be sustaining and it'll be long-term and lasting. So let me transition to, I think I'm the luckiest guy in the world because I get to operate Spaceport America. I've got one of the most talented management teams and a great staff of any spaceport in the universe, without a doubt. These guys are awesome. And we have not only a really great team of people, but we also have some natural attributes of a high altitude, of beautiful sunny weather, of a very benign weather environment, of dealing in a very sparse population, which allows us to do things that you can't do in many other places in the world. And because we have not only those natural attributes, but we also have one other key ingredient, that's airspace. Unlimited airspace from surface to unlimited, that's restricted and controlled by the Department of Defense with the full authority of the FAA. So we have access to space that we can do things that you really have a hard time doing it other places in the nation. And that's why placed the Experimental Sounding Rocket Association, that started an IRAC competition, Intercollegiate Rocket Engineering Competition, started about 14 years ago. Last year, they grew from 35, 40 teams to 91 teams that came, 116 registered. These are students that are competing with rocketry at 10 and 30,000 feet. So that's just low altitude compared to what we're getting ready to do, but they could do it at a place at Spaceport America. And so that third week in June, it's coming up again, where we have 133 teams from around the world coming to compete. That's also why we have New Mexico Tech, Princeton, Purdue, and many of these other universities come out to Spaceport, because we have these natural attributes where they can launch up to higher altitudes. So when I first met Landon a little while ago in September, and we talked about this, it's like, well, you're gonna need a place to do this safely. You're gonna need a place that you have access to space. And so for those same attributes that not only support academia and these other competitions, for the same reasons, Landon and I instantly hit it on. But it wasn't just because we have the ability to go to the Kármán line to do this wonderful $1 million challenge with liquid rockets. But what really struck me the most, and this is a reflection of the leadership in New Mexico, from Governor Martinez down to the legislatures as they work, what really impressed me the most about this partnership is that we have the ability to make a difference in STEM, and not just to make a difference to get more STEM, but to do so in an area that's under-resourced but high talent. So coming from southern New Mexico, this is an area that is key to us going forward. It's what we're gonna have to do to get more women and minorities, to make our teams more diverse, just like Leland mentioned. That's gonna be critical for us as a society to go forward and accomplish great dreams. And so we are so excited to have these university teams and all you students out there come in a few years when you get your liquid rocket capabilities designed, built, and ready to go, to have you come out to Spaceport America. And Landon, thank you for the courage and what you're doing, and for letting us partner with you on this wonderful challenge. God bless you, and for all the students out here, good luck. We wish to look forward to see you.
Thank you. And it's so important to have partners. And what I also want to mention is not only industry partners, but government partners. And I've already mentioned a couple that were here, but also Bishop L.J. Guillory, wave your hand, he's in the back. He's one of our government partners from local. And Councilwoman Emma Sharif is also here. And so it's so important, there she is. It's so important to have our support from our government partners. And so thank you for that. Now we want to give you a very special message. I told you about how we got inspired by the XPrize. Well, one of our collaborators, the XPrize Foundation, co-founder of the XPrize himself, Peter Diamandis. Listen.
Hi, I'm Diane Murphy, and I was one of the 3 people on the founding team of the XPrize, and today I have the honor of being on the Board of Trustees. So in 2004, as Peter explained, we made history because we'd offered a prize for the first private team, not government, to send a spacecraft to the edge of space. And today we're here because we're going to make history again by breaking the next barrier, which is going to allow all these students and more to take their spacecrafts to the edge of space. So what many of you may not know is that the XPrize almost didn't happen. Many, many times it almost didn't happen because there were no rules. This had never been done before. There were no spaceports, no regulations, no rules. And so usually, typically when that happens in government, they just shut it down. But not in this case, because there was one federal agency who stood up and took the lead in this, and that was the Office of Commercial Space Transportation of the Federal Aviation Administration. And today, we're going to hear from Michelle Murray, around the corner here, who is a leader in that office. And she is one amazing person. She is an engineer. She is a mother. She has worked at Lockheed Martin and with NASA. And now she's been at AST for 15 years. And she's probably the best person I can think of who will be the best role model for all the women who are going to be part of the teams that are going to be the next spacecraft designers, builders, launchers, and pilots. So Michelle?
Hi, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here today. Most folks, I have not been in an audience where the word commercial space have been used so much. So I usually introduce myself and say I'm from the FAA's Office of Commercial Space, and then go on to explain there's 3 sectors to the space industry: the military, NASA, and commercial space. And the FAA regulates commercial space. We license launch vehicles, reentry vehicles, and the operation of spaceports like Dan's. And we also have a mission, besides protecting the public and property and national security and things like that, we also have a mission to encourage, facilitate, and promote the industry. So yes, we are there to stand up and help commercial space. There are many wonderful things about the Base 11 challenge. One that stands out to me the most is that it's designed to give the next generation of workforce a hands-on experience where safety is the top priority. That is the reason why they've met with us. We're working with their teams because they understand the important value of safety. Space is inherently risky, and the future of the industry and commercial space industry is going to depend on the industry's ability to continually improve its safety performance. This is why the safety-first mindset is so important. The FAA will be working with the Base 11 organization's Safety Council and the students to ensure that the launches from Spaceport America will be done meeting FAA requirements and be conducted safely. This challenge will be conducted under the FAA's high-power amateur rocketry regulations under Part 101, and they will be conducted from a licensed spaceport, Spaceport America. On a personal level, I'm very excited to be here because I share Base 11's mission to increase the STEM talent into the aerospace workforce and into commercial space for those women and underrepresented folks and minorities. So we're really excited to have those folks come into the commercial space industry. And I really hope that this challenge, particularly its outreach components, do attract more women and minorities into aerospace. They have so much value to add, and we really need to recognize that talent, nurture it, and bring them into the aerospace workforce. So I look forward to working with Base 11, the Safety Council, and the students to ensure that we have a safe and successful challenge.
Michelle was amazing when we first met with her. She was like, first of all, this is awesome. And we were like, I don't know if you knew this, but we were kind of had our fingers crossed when we were starting the call. We were like, either Michelle's going to shut us down or she's going to be like, yeah, let's do it. And she gave us a point person to work with, and FAA has just been amazing. So students, we've been working for you guys because we know you need this approval. So we've been working for you. Listen, now I get a chance to introduce one of my great friends, an incredible partner with Base 11 overall for the last few years. And when I told him about the Space Challenge, and I said, listen, but we already have the $1 million prize all funded, that's done. We've got our project, that's done. But we need some additional help and support so we can make sure that this gets brought to all communities and all students. So step up and be a sponsor with us. And he was like, you know what? Highest level, Chairman's Circle. I want to introduce to my friend, the SVP for Dassault Systems, the president of their foundation, Al Bunshaft.
Thank you, Landon. What an exciting day. I'm just honored to be here and representing our company here with everyone. We in our company recognize that it is absolutely an imperative that we inspire and motivate the next generation. We make the tools, the software tools that the aerospace industry depends on and many, many other industries to develop and drive their innovations. And so we have committed ourselves as a company to put what we call the workforce of the future as a strategic pillar for where our company is going. And I'm honored to lead that activity here in North America. This is aligned to our corporate strategy, and so we've been investing heavily in STEM education. And I just want to make 2 points about it, and we've touched on these points already. First of all, I've been involved for about 8 years now in a national STEM task force activity where for a number of years I was the co-chair. We did a lot of research into STEM education, 40 employers from all range of industries in terms of what is that gap that exists between what we need and what education is delivering. And the single most powerful element of filling that gap and giving young people the skills they need, and you touched on it, Leland, experiential learning, industry-driven, unstructured problems. Hey, in the real world, the answer is not in the back of the book. In the real world, it's our challenge and requirement to take a step beyond what's ever been done before, and that's what we expect these student teams to do. So this will give students, and where they want it, under the mentorship of industry leaders who've done it before, a real hands-on experiential learning opportunity. Second is diversity. It's absolutely an essential for our economy, for our communities, for our country, for our nation. But the point I want to make to all of you is that it is a business imperative. And if you're not familiar with the work of Scott Page, I encourage you to take a look at his book. I believe it's his most recent book, which is titled The Diversity Bonus. And in that book, he shares research that proves that you can choose a team of your absolute top-performing all-stars from your organization, and you can choose another team randomly from your organization, and this random team will outperform the stars. Why? Because they bring what he refers to as cognitive diversity. They come with different points of view, different angles, different experiences, and that drives innovation. And so again, driving more diversity in our ecosystems, in our companies, whether it be in government, whether it be in education, whether it be in our businesses, is an absolute imperative. So our commitment to the Base 11 Space Challenge is that we are giving our software platform, which is called the 3D Experience Platform, to any and all of the teams who wish to utilize it. This is an industry-leading set of tools, design, analysis, manufacturing, etc. That platform will be used also as a judging platform, and importantly, students can use that platform to maintain and store their work, their digital portfolio. It's one thing to have a resume like this, and it's a whole nother to be able to demonstrate your work, your real engineering work. So we look forward to what the teams will do. I'm absolutely convinced that there's going to be incredible innovation that comes from this project. We're honored to be part of this, and I'd like to share with you now a very brief video from the Managing Director of North America for Dassault Systems, Dean Marsh. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dean Marsh, Managing Director for Dassault Systems here in North America. I am so excited to be partnering with Base 11 for the Space Challenge. You know, growing up, I was inspired to become an engineer and a computer scientist by the landing of Apollo 11 on the moon. And I am certain that this $1 million student-led challenge will inspire the next generation of engineers and scientists. Here at Dassault Systems, we have been working strategically to link industry with academia to create meaningful projects that help prepare students for their eventual work and careers. I know that if we expose more students to these types of projects, we will inspire more of you to pursue careers in the STEM fields. We see the Base 11 Space Challenge as a perfect fit for helping to achieve that objective, to prepare qualified talent for the aerospace industry while generating fresh new ideas. So I invite you to take up that challenge. Show us what you've got. Good luck to all of the student teams, and I hope to see you on the launch pad with $1 million check. Thank you.
So what I love about that is, again, walking the talk. You see, senior, basically managing director of all of the North Americas for Dassault Systems, African-American male. And so that's, in essence, kind of walking the talk. And Al, we appreciate you for your leadership and your commitment to this space. So thank you for that. Now, let's get to the details. My wife was like, yeah, let's get to the details. Come on, Landon. Let's get to the details of what the meat of the challenge, okay? So that you can know. Leland was asking me out front, give me the details about the challenge. So we're gonna walk you through it as a team. First of all, these are the prizes. Now, we talked about the 1 million, but guess what, students? We also have prizes leading up to it in phases. So phase number 1 is the overall program design. So the teams will have between now, when we open this up, until March of 2019 to put together their program design, which includes the design of their rocket, but also their outreach and diversity strategy to diversify their teams, and their safety, Michelle, their safety plan. So that'll all be put together in terms of what that overall program design, and you'll see a bucket of $50,000 first, second, and third prize for that. Then next, the following year, phase 2, another $50,000 for the best static fire test. Then number 3, we're gonna have pop-up innovation challenges all along the way, where we'll just surprise you and say, here's a pop-up challenge. And the first pop-up challenge we're announcing today, any student from anywhere in the United States or Canada can enter this, even if you're not in the Space Challenge. We want you to help us design the logo for the Space Challenge. $2,500 prize to be able to design the logo, so anybody can enter into that. I'm gonna have Christine now walk you through the details of the timeline.
So registration for the Base 11 Space Challenge is open now. I'm actually already getting some notifications that people are signing up. Registration closes September 28th. We've done our best to ensure that the challenge follows the flow of the academic year. For the first year, everyone moves at the same pace. As Landon mentioned, your rocket designs, plans for safety, outreach, and business development are all part of phase 1. Those are due next March 2019. Some of you may have attended the Aerospace Expo that Base 11 hosted with Dassault Systems at UCI last fall. We're gonna be having another Aerospace Expo a year from now, right back here at tomorrow's Aeronautical Museum, where we'll be announcing the winners of phase 1 of the challenge. Now, after that point, some teams might start moving faster than others. So while deadlines continue generally to be in the spring, if your team is ready and you submit early, the judges will review it and move you on to the next phase. So to that end, there are 4 launch windows, the earliest being in May of 2020, and subsequent ones in December of 2020, May 2021, and December of 2021. Now, I would like to take a moment to talk about safety. At least 20 university teams in the US and Canada are already experimenting with liquid fuel rocketry. And some of them enjoy tremendous support from faculty experts as well as industry mentors, but not all of them do. So one of the goals of this challenge has been to introduce some safety standards across all of the teams. To that end, we've formed a safety advisory council that's responsible for 3 things. One is having written guidelines, safety guidelines. The other is advising on an in-person safety training that will be mandatory for the safety officers on each team, and overseeing the creation of an online safety training that all team members will need to complete. The Safety Advisory Council is comprised of current and retired employees of these organizations: SpaceX, Aerojet Rocketdyne, Boeing, Friends of Amateur Rocketry, Spaceport America, and Pratt & Whitney. And as you heard Michelle mention, the FAA is also involved, as is NASA. Although each of these members brings a very different expertise and different perspective, they share one thing in common, which is their absolute commitment to making this a safe and educational experience for the students. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Kyla Jeffrey of HeroX. They work on crowdsourcing challenges for NASA, Boeing, Coca-Cola, and many others, and we've been very honored to have them work on our challenge. Kyla?
Thank you so much, Christine. So 5 years ago, Peter Diamandis, who we heard from earlier, co-founded HeroX with CEO Christian Cottacini as a spin-off of the XPrize. And the reason we did this is because at our core, we believe that any problem that we face in the world, we can employ the world to solve it. And that's exactly what we're doing here with the Base 11 Space Challenge. So I want to take a moment and introduce you to the Space Challenge page on HeroX, which will be the hub, the community for this challenge. Students, this is where you'll find all the information you need to register, all the information you need throughout the competition. And for everyone else, this is where you can stand behind our student teams, you can congratulate them on the forum, you can cheer them on, you can get their updates throughout the progress. And this will really be the core and the community that we're building around the Space Challenge. So I encourage everyone at the end of this presentation to go sign up and follow along. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce a special announcement by the first Latino NASA astronaut.
$1 Million Space Challenge. Hi, I'm Franklin Chang Diaz. I'm currently the founder and the CEO of Ad Astra Rocket Company. And in 1980, I was fortunate to become NASA's first Latino astronaut. The $1 million Base 11 Space Challenge is an amazing way to infuse the younger generation with that Apollo space fever. That space fever was what motivated an entire country, let alone the whole world, to push themselves to explore the unknown, to create the unheard of, and to accomplish what seemed to be impossible. Now, 50 years have passed since we last visited the moon. In that half century, we have made much progress, but it is time to pass the torch to a new generation to take us further, faster, into the depth of space. And that generation is you. It is about our survival as a species, a spacefaring species. And you are the fresh air that will rekindle the fire of creativity, innovation, and of advanced technology. But only if you work hard and help one another. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, your possibilities are endless. That is, if you're passionate, open-minded, and determined. So good luck to all the teams competing for the prize. But remember, knowledge and experience are the best prizes of all. Thank you.
So you continue to see the message weaving, right, breaking down those silos. Another representative from NASA, industry, and I failed to mention, when I talked about those companies, another company that's here with us is Virgin Orbit. And so I want to recognize my man from Virgin Orbit. So no students that we've got them all, we've got everyone here. Now, I want to switch to academia. And I want to bring up two leaders. Our focus is on not only getting to space, but also diversity and diversifying this field. And so, in essence, Sigma Pi Phi fraternity, which you'll hear about just about a moment, in just a second, is really focused on really helping African American males in a real big effort to be able to come and advance in STEM. And so the national president, Wes Coleman, is here, and then also Dr. Antoine Garibaldi, who's the president of University of Detroit Mercy, is here and is going to give remarks about this effort together. So gentlemen, come right up.
Good morning, and thank you very much for this opportunity. As Landon said, I'm Antoine Garibaldi, president of University of Detroit Mercy, and also a member of Sigma Pi Phi fraternity, which is more popularly known as the Boule, and happens to be the oldest African American fraternity in this country that was begun in 1904. I'm very pleased to represent Sigma Pi Phi fraternity here along with our national president, Wes Coleman, and specifically the members of the Historically Black Colleges and Universities Committee. Many of our more than 5,000 members are in this organization, and a good number of them from this geographic area have also joined us today. And as I said, Wes Coleman and also Landon Taylor, the CEO of Base 11, is also one of our distinguished members. And I'll speak in a few minutes about why we are here. As a lifelong teacher and administrator in elementary, junior, and senior high schools, as well as colleges and universities, I cannot stress enough the importance and urgency of preparing all young men and women to be proficient in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And these young men and women involved in STEM education must come from all racial and economic groups, as well as ethnic backgrounds too. Historically, we know that our scientific leaders have come from many different communities, irrespective of their parents' education and financial resources. But when given the chance to learn and the opportunities to dream and succeed, those aspiring scientists exceeded all expectations. This Base 11 Space Challenge is equally inspirational for our youth, and this dynamic collaboration of elementary and secondary schools, colleges, universities, space exploration companies, the FAA, Sigma Pi Phi, and other groups will literally propel our next generation of liquid fuel rocketry leaders. And I know my own students at University of Detroit Mercy, as well as the faculty, are equally excited about this too. But another part of my role here today is to promote the importance of historically black colleges and universities becoming more involved in aerospace and also other STEM fields. I'm a graduate of Howard University, one of the historically black colleges and universities. And 21 of my 42 years as a professor and senior administrator at both Xavier University of Louisiana and also Howard University, I know the significant contributions that HBCUs have made to the fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics over the last 170 years. And as I documented more than 34 years ago in my 1984 book, Black Colleges, Universities, Challenges for the Future, HBCUs have educated many of the African American scientists and professional leaders because of the segregation that existed in the majority of the nation's 4,000 colleges and universities. A large number of those African American scientific leaders were graduates of HBCUs, but they were also members of Sigma Pi Phi and received their bachelor's, master's, first professional degrees, as well as doctorates at many of those schools. Today, there are more than 100 historically black colleges and universities, and Sigma Pi Phi is looking forward to announcing a major partnership with Base 11 at our biennial convention in Cincinnati on June the 24th. Through this partnership, we'll be able to involve many HBCU students and area institutions in an exciting space challenge competition that will assist their institutions and also generate more interest in pursuing and considering more opportunities in the aerospace workforce. HBCUs have provided exceptional talent over the years in each of those STEM fields for many decades, and this collaboration will assure that these institutions continue to play a very significant role in the production of more aerospace workforce. So we're very excited to be a part of this extraordinary and historic initiative, and our national leader, Wes Coleman, will say a few words as well. Wes?
Good morning.
I also am a proud graduate of an HBCU, Hampton University in Virginia. And it is really great that we are able to partner with Base 11 on this very exciting project. I heard a lot about inspiring our youth today, and that just happens to be the theme of our current biennium, inspiring our youth to succeed. So all across the country, our 5,000 members are doing things in their communities to inspire our youth to achieve their potential. And just in closing, I had lunch with Landon about 2 years ago, and as we were talking, he had a certain gleam in his eyes. He was thinking about what he was planning to do with Base 11, and I knew it was going to be something innovative and challenging. Didn't have any idea it was going to be quite like this, but he is a true visionary, and we're very pleased to partner with him. Thank you.
And to continue with our leaders from academia, Dr. Golshani, the Dean of Engineering for Cal State University Long Beach, and one of the first to say, we're in, and I think we're going to win this thing. Dr. Golshani.
Good morning, everyone, and I'm humbled to share the stage with such luminaries and leaders, President Garibaldi. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of the program. Fortuitously, yesterday in the mail, I received a packet from a friend, and in that packet, there were several objects, including this book, The Space and Beyond. And on top, it says, choose your own adventure. And I'm glancing through this, and it's a very, very interesting book, and it gives you options to go different directions. And you know where it points you to is inclusiveness, and where you fail, where you're divided. And you know, I'm thinking of the location where this announcement is being made. I've had the privilege of being here in this Tomorrow's Aviation Museum before, and what great programming, what great opportunity to involve the community. So thank you, Landon, for this choice. This is great. My university is very fortunate to be in the city of Long Beach, probably the most diverse city in the nation, believe it or not. And we pride ourselves for having no barriers. Of the 1,300 engineers we graduated this year, a majority of them are from underrepresented groups. So I'm very, very pleased to be able to say this, that we truly make it easy for all demographics to come, pursue engineering, and in fact, we have specific programming to enable them to succeed. And many of these programs are indeed sponsored by companies that are represented here. With Boeing, we've had many years of partnership. They have a presence in our college, as well as many other companies. A recent partner for us is the National College Resource Foundation that was mentioned, and they have sponsored our current liquid-propelled rocket program. And this is a program that we are hoping to result in a launch in about less than 2 weeks. And this will push the limit for us to the limit of civilian space, about 45,000 feet, which is a good new height for us. We have been launching rockets for 15 years, liquid-propelled rockets. So this is a new high for us. About 6 months ago or so, inspired by Foster, who's in the audience, I set a challenge for our students to be the first university to launch a rocket to low Earth orbit by 2025. A few months later, I meet Landon, and well, our timeline just pushed back there, came forward just a bit, so we will align ourselves to meet this challenge. Thank you for that. And with the sponsorship and resources that we have received, we are able to provide a space for this rocket team that is a magnet for high schools and middle schools. So again, we will be able to meet the challenge of including young women and men from all walks of life to be part of this exciting program. Let me go back to this and read from the last page of this book, which says, it says, beware and warning, you and you alone are in charge. The last sentence is the following, you will travel through time, but be careful. You might end up stuck in a void where time no longer exists, and thus neither do you. So prophetic. It's all about students, and I wish you well. Our students will be along with you competing, and let's hear from the students.
Hybrid rockets, we built that. Oh. Canadian altitude record, we break that. Oh. Liquid engine space shot, we win that. Oh.
What's up, Base 11?
Hello, I'm Robert.
And I'm Hubert.
And we're the captains of UBC Rocket.
We are Unit Rocketry.
SEDS at UCSD.
UC Irvine.
RPL at UCSD.
Base Concordia from Montreal, Canada. We are the New Rocket Team, and we're excited. We're excited. We're excited.
For the Base 11.
Base 11 for the Base 11. Base 11 Space Challenge.
See you soon.
Hi, my name is Christian Nilsson, and I am the president of Purdue's Rocket Club. Purdue is extremely excited to compete in the Base 11 Challenge. From the first to the very most recent steps to the moon, Purdue has a rich history of spaceflight. And our alumni has gone on to do great things, but now it is the students' turn to make their mark and move the world forward for space exploration. And we're excited to partner with Purdue's Polytechnic High School, a high school located in the heart of Indianapolis, to give the low-resource students that they access to their first small step to make the next giant leap for mankind. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Paul Shin. I'm the co-founder and the Chief Business Development Officer at Space Enterprise at Berkeley. I'm here at the Base 11 kickoff with my fellow colleague and co-founder Eric Pillai over there, and also our Chief Engineer at our team. I just want to start off by saying that UC Berkeley and the student community overall across the nation and the world is incredibly thankful for Base 11 for recognizing this feat that has not been done to get into space by students alone is a legitimate task that is worth taking. And with that, I do have to say that Base 11 actually came in during a time I would have to say is pretty serendipitous, I would say. Space Enterprise at Berkeley has started working on their liquid-propelled Eureka-1 rocket since July of 2017. Several months after we've heard about Base 11's contributions to various academic institutions at the Southern California region, and we've contacted Base 11 without knowing that Base 11 was working on the Space Challenge alone. And after reaching out to Base 11 without getting a response from 2 weeks later, suddenly I get a response from Christine, who is the communication director, saying that they have not only supported or not only going to support the space endeavor, but also will be the sole industry legitimizer for this feat. And once again, UC Berkeley and the student community is incredibly thankful for Base 11 for opening and kicking off this challenge for the entire world. Thank you very much.
All right, we are at the close. So as we get ready to wrap up, we gotta acknowledge those who has made this thing possible, right? And so there's a few people I've got to acknowledge, if you can hold tight with me. The very first who tolerates me and gives me energy and makes my wings fly is my amazing, incredible wife, Michelle Flowers Taylor. So please Recognize her. One guy I got to actually bring up is Robin Petgrave. Robin, come on up here. So Robin Petgrave, come on up here. Rob, this is his space. And you've seen this amazing things, and you're going to be able to see it and tour it inside. But Robin, just thank you for your amazing leadership. And I just want you, since this is your house, I just want you to be able to just say a word that you'd like to be able to say about what's happening here.
So I'm sure there are skeptics that look at this and say, you want to get young people, you keep talking about this innovation, and how do you know it really works, right? We had UCLA launch in that last competition, and how do you know it really works? Well, we built this rocket lab here so kids could get exposed to aerospace. And on that big rocket table out there, you'll actually see a layup of a space-capable rocket that our high school students and some of the engineering volunteers and mentors, including this guy that works on the Boeing space plane, have been working on. But how does it work? I had a Caltech moment. I got a call that some kids was playing around with this thing that they made, and I got on the phone and I was like, what is going on? And here, stand up, young man. Come on up here. Yeah, so this is one of our FLAIR students, which stands for Future Leaders of Advanced Rocket Engineering. He's an 11th grader. He got this great idea from test firing our rocket engine on our test stand out there. And they dug in their pockets, him and one of the other FLAIR students, went to the Dollar Tree store, which is like the 99-cent store, and bought some parts and assembled a liquid fuel rocket engine that actually works. So this is 11th grade making his own prototype of a liquid fueled rocket engine that works. What is he gonna do when he gets to be you? Innovation starts here. This works, proof positive. And you recruiters, get his name and phone number. You want him on your team. So thank you very much. Thanks for coming down. I hope you like my spot. And good luck, everybody. We're going to win. No.
So I also want to acknowledge, I was talking about the industry partners. There's an industry partner here that's really sponsored and helped make tomorrow's aerospace possible, and that's American Airlines. And so they're here. So recognize them for them supporting tomorrow's aerospace. Now, for a guy who is always, never wants any credit at all, he's my friend. He was the visionary who when I said I got an idea about a space challenge, and he said, I'm in, and he helped by helping us provide the prize money. I want to bring him up. He's not going to want to come up, but I want to recognize the visionary, Foster Standback. Foster, come on up. We want to present you. Come on over here. We want to present you. Come on up here, Ingrid, with a gift to indicate our thanks. Ingrid, you want to hold that for him? Foster and Coco Standback, who are generous sponsors and supporters of education and STEM education. Without them, none of this would be possible, and we just want to all have a round of applause for what they've done.
Thank you, Landon, and thank you for making all of this happen. Landon and I go back many years, and we often collaborate about grand ideas, and Landon implements those ideas and makes them happen, as you see here today. I mean, this is an incredible challenge, an impossible challenge, really, to get a liquid fuel rocket to space and have it built by students. I mean, this was something that years ago could not have even been dreamed of. It took the economic and political power of governments, and even now, large corporations, and now students are going to do it. I mean, this is amazing. We're going to have a whole new generation of young people that are going to be dreaming big dreams because they're going to see that it's possible. So Landon, I can't thank you enough for all the team that you've brought together here. That is one of the things that just moves me so much about rocketry is the teamwork involved. And we've gone out and we've watched some launches out at the Friends of Amateur Rocketry site, and it is very inspiring to hear the noise and see the fire and watch this rocket go up in the air. But what is more exciting than that is the aftermath. When you just watch dozens of young people jumping up and down and hugging each other and clapping, the inspiration, the excitement, that is the key to getting our young generations excited about science and math and the hard work that's going to be required to advance into the future with new technologies, to keep our country strong with advanced industry. And so, again, I thank everyone here, especially Robin is just such an amazing visionary, what he's done. And, you know, we talked about getting a rocketry lab built. 3 months later, here it is. I mean, this just doesn't happen anywhere else. There are just too many people to mention. Teresa Price and all the work that she has done with outreach and, you know, getting young people involved and bringing in the university partners. So anyway, thank all of you who have been a part of this great vision. And we're all going to be jumping up and down and screaming and high-fiving when we see that first rocket hit the von Karman line in just a couple of years. Thank you.
All right. So finally, I want to really thank the Base 11 team, Cindy and Christine and Jade and Tia. Give the Base 11 and Jay a round of applause to the Base 11 team. But there's one team member that I got to bring to the stage, and that is Christine Bird. So Christine has been the heavy lifter. She is come around. So you don't heavy lifter. I don't know if our insurance will cover you falling. A heavy lifter. She, in essence, has planned everything. They've nicknamed her Rocket Girl, but she's reached out to all of the universities. She's worked with all of our industry partners. None of this would have been possible without Christine. And so we want to have a special presentation, both these flowers, and we've got a 2-day getaway weekend for you and your family. That's all teed up, okay, after this. And so thank you, Christine. You're amazing. You're awesome. And as Foster said, none of this would be possible without team. Teresa Price, raise your hand. Teresa Price back there with National College Resources Foundation. So, here's what I want to do. I want you guys stay up here. Here's what I want to do. We're going to now invite everybody to take a tour of the rocketry lab. We're going to invite you to take a tour of the museum inside. Watch this. Those flight simulators are real. We want you to get on the flight simulators and get a chance to play with the flight simulators. We have lunch right outside. So before you go back to, and we got an extra for the students because we know students eat a lot. So lunch is outside, and we want to make sure that everybody participates in that first challenge for the logo design. As I let you go, I need all the speakers and the students, if you would just come right up here for one quick photo. And everybody else, if you exit that way to go eat, or this way to be able to go see the museum. Thanks everybody for being out. Let's launch. Speakers, come up front. Speakers, come up front. Huh? Oh, we had to leave.
Do you want me to try to get him? I think he left seconds ago.